Welcome to the Scarlet, Blue, and You podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am Lauren Yaus, your Scarlet, Blue, and You host, and the Hannibal LaGrange Alumni Director. I'm coming to you from the Burt Studio inside the Roland Fine Arts Center on our beautiful, almost spring-like campus. And my special guest today is an alum of HLGU, Brice Baumgardner. He also serves as the Assistant Vice President of Enrollment Management. So welcome, Brice.
Thank you. Good to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. Okay, so you are an alum.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about that first.
Sure.
Tell me, how did you hear about Hannibal LaGrange?
Sure. My dad was born and raised in Hannibal, and so I have been coming back to Hannibal for a long time to hang out with my grandma and grandpa, and my dad served on the board for many years.
Well, your dad's an alum.
True, he is. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. And so we heard about it through that, and then started a golf program all along about the time I was graduating high school. And so I did that in high school, and so decided to enroll at Hannibal LaGrange and play a little golf and go to school.
Excellent. And you're majored in?
Communication arts, I believe, is what it is, but it was heavy
Speeches and...
Yeah. And heavy had some theater component to it. And so, comm arts was the official degree there.
It's a good major.
I like it.
All right. So what was your favorite thing about HLGU as a student?
Yeah. I've met a lot of lifelong friends, guys that I still talk to, young ladies that I still talk to this day. And it's always good to be together and share stories. Just a lot of good times together.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And after graduation, did you stay immediately or did you leave Hannibal LaGrange and then come back?
Sure. I graduated. I finished school in December of 2000 and then looked at a few things in January and February of that year. Ended up going to work for a gentleman I went to church with over in Monroe City, and then graduated in May. And then that would have been May of 01. And then in December of 01, that'd been 02. Interviewed in December of 02. And then my start date is the easiest thing I can remember. My start date is 01, 02, 03 is when I started.
Oh, it's like you planned that.
Yeah, almost. You know?
Nice.
Yeah.
And you started in the admissions office.
I did. I started in the admissions office and was there for 5 years, 5.5 years, something like that.
That's a long time in admissions.
It is.
Good job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And was there and getting ready to have our son. And so there was a little bit of travel involved, and Mama, I don't think, was too happy and keen on the idea of traveling a bunch. And so I transitioned to the financial aid office in 2008.
And been there ever since.
Been there since, yeah.
Yeah, but you've elevated a little bit because you're now an assistant vice president.
Correct.
Which is exciting. Good job. Okay. So what's your favorite thing about working at Hannibal LaGrange? And maybe this will segue into our topic. Maybe not, though.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, financial aid is, in fact, awesome.
It's your favorite thing ever.
Yeah, it is. But I'm not quite sure it's the full reason and the excitement about being here. There is a lot to be said, and I don't know how to quantify it all, but there's a lot to be said about what we have to offer is going to be life-changing for students. And I've experienced that as an individual in that most likely I would not have been successful at a larger institution where folks really didn't care if I attended. And because of that, I was in town. I met my wife here in town and have been a part of the community since 97, which has been really exciting. And so the things that we do and the things that we have to offer, what I know is going to have a long-lasting impact on students. And a former employee used to say, and he said, the things that we do will touch a day that we never see. And I think that's a great summation of the things that we have to offer now are going to have a lifelong and hopefully kingdom-long impact on the students that we help get enrolled and educate. Nice.
Okay, so that kind of segues. So we know there is no greater investment than the one you make in your future, like you just said. And at HLGU, we know that an investment in education is an investment in your future. And we want to make that investment as affordable as possible. I mean, a drum roll there. Thus, we have Brice talking about the college financial aid process. So how do we begin? Maybe just start with, what is financial aid?
Sure. So financial aid would be considered any type of funding that helps pay for your education. there are different areas of that. And so the largest one that most people think about is university scholarships and programs. And so most of the time, that's where you'll see a lot of that coming from. So we at Hannibal LaGrange do our best to put our best foot forward. We don't want to go into some sort of negotiations of like, oh, this is what it's going to be and this is what it is. And we're not like a used car salesman. I don't magically find a couple $100 in a drawer. Like,
you don't go back and talk to the guy in the office.
There's no other guy in the window. You know, I don't call somebody, hey, just in.
We really want this guy.
Right, because you were here. This is what we do. And so what we know is what we have to offer is life-changing. And some of the best individuals that your students are going to meet are here on campus and educating your students. And they're great people. And so we'll say right up front, this is where we're at. We give some sort of institutional scholarship to 100% of the people that are admitted in our traditional undergraduate population here on the main campus. And so with that, we also offer aid through other areas. And so, for example, federal aid, state aid, outside scholarships, all of those things we put together in our office and help make sure the student has what they need to satisfy their bill. And so whether that be our graduate students, undergraduate students, online programs, all of those things, that's kind of handled through the financial aid office.
Okay. So you said what it is. How does it work?
Sure. So the FAFSA form is the free application for federal student aid.
Okay.
And over the last couple of years, it's had some significant changes. So 2020, 2021, somewhere around there was a couple of legislators who were finishing their term, one of those being Senator Blunt from Missouri. He worked with some other Senator Graham, and one of their goals was FAFSA simplification.
Ooh, that sounds good.
It is-ish, yeah. And so their goal was to make it easier than what it was. So over the years, there's been a lot of technology introduced. And so this year, the government wasn't ready to put it out last year. And so this year, they put it out for the first year. And what we're finding is the FAFSA form is much simpler.
Good.
It takes 10 to 15 minutes to get
done.
done.
Oh, wow. That is simple.
Yeah, whereas before, it was moving data from columns on your W-2s and your tax forms. And,
I feel like you had to have like all of your paperwork ready to go.
Right. And so now it's much simpler. With that has come some technology challenges. And so where we're at now is traditionally it opens in October, and they came out late in the year and said, we're just not going to be ready to open up in October because of the complexity of all of the new form and the new way they're doing calculations. And so they said, should be open in December.
Uh-oh. I like how you said should be.
Yeah. And, all around about the 28th or 29th of December, things kind of opened up. So it technically was in December.
Well, good.
And then they opened it and they said, we're going to have like a soft launch all through the month of January, and then we'll be ready to go in February. Good news is the soft launch lasted about a week. And then they opened things up.
So it must be working.
It is working. And so they came out and said, hey, it's working. We're going to deliver student data to the schools the 1st of February. Fantastic. It's later than usual, but we'll wait. That's fine. And on the 1st of February, they just said, just a new announcement. We've made some errors, and so we need to correct those. And the errors, that is public information, was to the tune of about $1.8 billion in some of the calculations.
So they need to fix that.
Needed just a little bit of time. And so they've said, hey, the middle of March is when our new information is going to be ready. And you can define middle however you like to define middle. It could be, 8, 9, 10, 11. It could be 25 through 30. I have no idea, but they're telling us middle of March. And so right now we're kind of in a holding pattern. We're developing some things internally, and we're getting ready for that release. So then we can begin talking to all the students who are excited about enrolling in 24-25.
Okay. So students can go ahead and complete the form.
Yes, we would encourage them to do that right now.
But it's not necessarily getting to the school until mid-March.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Well, that's very exciting.
It is.
So I know there are different types of financial aid. There's like need-based and there's merit-based. Can you explain those two things?
Sure. So from the institutional side, we have a lot of programs that are both. Some are merit-based and some are need-based. And when a student is admitted, we'll look at that student. They'll be evaluated based off of test scores and those things and how they were admitted. And from that, we'll determine their merit scholarship. And so that is because of their accomplishments previous to being admitted. And then after the FAFSA comes in, it has the need component as determined by a student aid index, which is the magic number of where on the scale the government says you have need. And so the more need that you have, qualify for other need-based programs federally and statewide, but then also institutionally. We have a scholarship that helps with need-based, and because our model is to say we want to do all that we can to help students make Hannibal Lagrange attainable, especially financially. And so that's our goal, is to put together a pretty aggressive award so they can see that and be enrolled.
Okay, cool. Okay, so when do students usually receive these financial aid letters? I'm guessing it's before mid-March usually.
Normally, when it opens in October, we usually do that just right after the first of the year, February, March. Now it's going to be delayed a little bit.
Okay.
One of the challenges there is the technology component. As an example, a couple of days ago, we were on a webinar with our data provider, and they said normally we receive about 3,000 files from the federal government to test inside the system. And now they're going to send us 150. Which is a significant reduction. So with that, it's hard to tell exactly how all of the data works. So yesterday, or 2 days ago, yesterday, the government put out, hey, here's some test files. And they sent out 8 test files for us to upload.
Okay.
However, some of those things weren't formatted correctly, and so some people had some problems. And so
Not quite there.
We're not quite there. And so us and every other college and university in the entire country is at the same spot. We're all kind of waiting. And so we've sent some communication out to our students saying, hey, we understand it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
We're working on it, and we'll get it to you just as soon as we can. And so Mary and I, and Mary Shirley is in the financial aid office. She's the true brains of the operation. And so she and I will be working hard over the next couple of months just to make sure everybody gets stuff as soon as possible. And so if somebody were to have questions, of course, you're willing to, more than able to come by, visit with us, email us, give us a call, whatever works out best for you.
Yeah. Do the majority of students complete a FAFSA?
Yes, we'd say probably 95% of students.
95%. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're waiting on 95%.
Sure. Yeah.
So the 5%, do they already have their stuff, or are you just going to do it all at once?
They could. We're going to do everybody at once.
Sure. That makes sense. All right. Well, are there any other tips or advice for students, parents?
Sure. We would suggest for those students who are still in high school, graduating seniors, now is the best time for you to be really good friends with your high school guidance office. They have all of the resources for local communities. So, for example, here in the Hannibal area, all of the scholarship organizations that get together and have scholarships for those students, a majority of those students are all populated at the public school system. And so they send all of their information there. Now, we are welcome to homeschool students, and we have homeschool students from all over the country, and they have other opportunities as well. And so either your guidance office or maybe your local co-op has some information about those. So we would say make sure you're talking with those folks to apply for those scholarships.
Some of those are really nice.
Correct. And we would suggest that even if you don't qualify, many times there'll be 3 or 4 qualifications on that scholarship. Maybe you only meet 2 of those qualifications. Well, those scholarships have to be awarded. So we would suggest go ahead and apply anyway.
Right.
And see what happens, because the worst they could tell you is, no, we're not going to give you free money.
Right.
And so everybody likes free money. And so if you can treat it all like a job, I think right now, if I remember looking at the calendar, I think our high school seniors are somewhere around the late teens, maybe 18, 19, 20 weeks of school left. And when they hear that, they're not thinking, oh, that's pretty quick, but it is really quick.
It is.
And so this last little bit goes by really fast. And so we'd say, make sure you're doing this. If you could treat it like a job, just do 2 hours a week of scholarship applications. So it's just 1 40-hour work week. It really could benefit you on the back end. Yeah. We have one student, and I've been in aid for 17 years now, and she's been with us for 2 years. She has a total free ride because of all of our outside scholarships.
Wow, good
and
for her.
Yeah. And so she put in the effort while she was there, and so it's been really beneficial for her now.
Okay, so it's possible.
It is possible.
Might as well apply.
What's the worst they could say is no.
Okay.
Yeah. We would also say look at local organizations, maybe where mom or dad are employed, other things in town. For example, here we have some industry in town, and we know lots of industry has funds for students whose parents work there, also for those who don't as well. And so lots of opportunities. You just have to really dig after it and go after it and take a look at it.
Yeah, don't be scared to ask.
That's right. That's
okay.
right.
Anything else? These are all good things.
Yeah, just be patient with everybody. Everybody's trying as fast as they can. We're going to get you your stuff as quickly as possible. But again, we'd be more than happy to answer any questions before that time as well. So
Okay.
It's a good time just to come around and ask. Take a tour of campus, visit with everybody, and then we can help with the financial things right near the end of your time.
All right, awesome. So as a side note, as you were talking, I think I remember when you were probably a junior or senior, you worked for the admissions office. Does that sound right? Did you make calls?
I did.
Because I believe you called me.
Yeah? How about that?
And my sister answered, and she's younger than I am. And she was like, there's a guy on here from HLG that wants to talk to you. And I said, I don't want to talk to him. Tell him I'm not here. But my sister did not cover up the phone. So you heard the entire thing. And then years later, my sister is working in the admissions office and looks up my file just out of curiosity and sees the note that you made that says, like, she was there. She didn't want to talk to me.
It's fantastic.
So it's full circle.
Yeah, that's great.
That's right. You just never know when
You never know.
where you're going to end up. God can do cool things.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Brice. And I know you are available
Sure.
to answer any and all questions and meet one-on-one.
Yeah, all of our contact information is on the website, so just
Great.
log in there under financial aid, and you can see how to get a hold of us or
And you
schedule
even
a time or
do you
whatever.
still have like cool calculators on the financial aid pages?
We do, yeah. You can go see scholarship calculator there. You can also see all of the awards that might be available to you,
Nice.
and you can see all that, how that all fleshes out. Just enter in some data.
Yeah.
And it's all right
Sweet.
there.
Okay. Nice and easy.
Yeah, simple.
All right. See, financial aid's not scary.
No, not at all.
Says the girl who doesn't have to do anything with it. But thank you so much
Yeah,
for joining us
thanks
and
for
for the
having me.
service
Appreciate it.
you provide for our students. Thanks for listening to this Scarlet, Blue, and You podcast. Remember, keep a song in your heart, preferably the HLGU alma mater, and Hannibal LaGrange in your mind.